Okay, guys, today is the 3rd of March, Sunday. Oh, man, I'll tell you, I've been wanting to do a video on kids, those of us who are trying to do our healing, and either we have, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the kids are young, preteens, teens, adults already moved out. They're still living with us. We got split custody. It doesn't matter, man. Anything to do with kids in this day and age is extremely difficult. This healing is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and then you add the whole child aspect on top of that, and man, you want to talk about a fucking mind fuck, man. Because you're dealing with, at part of your healing, you have to take responsibility. You have to take that shame and guilt and face it. For once you realize that you brought them into these slavery systems, and that you've been a huge part and parcel of their indoctrination and programming, and teaching them how to be wage slaves, teaching them how to fit into toxic social standards and social structures and hierarchies, and teaching them how important money is, and how imbuing them throughout their whole lives with all your money issues and your worries and your fears and your doubts over money issues, and not living up to standards, and all of these things, man. And it's just it's extremely overwhelming. It's something that needs to be thoroughly examined and processed and thought through and dealt with, while at the same time, you're trying to do your own healing, and then you've got this separate entity or entities that you're responsible for doing exactly to them what you're dealing with in your own healing. I've had several people hit me up, in regards to their children, all in various stages of their childhood. Some with young children, some with preteens, teens, some with kids that live with them, some with kids that don't, some with adult kids. And it's just every fucking one of those situations just so differently nuanced, man. And each one of them comes with its own baggage and God, so many things to process and deal with. And it's just sad, man. It's sad. It's sad to realize that we've been doing this to ourselves, as a species, as a human species, for generations, and we've just been propagating and perpetuating this trauma and abuse onto each other for generations and generations. And then, a lot of, children never even had a relationship with their parents, and it was with their grandparents. And then they, so they see their grandparents as these great saviors and these wonderful people, but they don't, until they start healing and facing the reality of everything, they don't realize that their grandparents were the ones responsible for their parents being all fucked up. And their grandparents are responsible for teaching them how to get good grades in school, and how to go along, and how to, participate and work and do all these senseless things that, have nothing to do with what it means to be human. And just the whole process of, deep of programming us to think that we're less than, that we need to be better, that we need to learn, that we aren't capable, we aren't innately powerful, we aren't innately knowing, we aren't innately, all of these things. And I understand, some people had these really caring, grandparents or parents or guardians or teacher or whatever that might have stepped into their life. And the reason we say that these people were loving, those of us who had a figure like that, I didn't, but those who did, And when they hear me say these things, they're like, "Oh, my grandparent was really sweet. We would bake cookies together, and we would do this, and we would watch our favorite TV show. I'd sit up on her lap, and yeah, guys. But don't you see everything that's wrong with that whole scenario? You bake fucking poisonous foods that are poisonous and toxic to your body. You sit there and watch indoctrination and programming through your eyes, and all of these different things, that we really have to assess and come to terms with, and quit bamboozling and gaslighting ourselves on what proper care was and what proper being a proper human is. We have to get down to the root of these things. And quit playing, because if we keep defending and keep justifying and excusing the actions of these grown adults whose only job was to nurture us, give us a safe space and nurture us, meaning nurture as in don't imbue us with their emotional ups and downs and their emotional baggage from the past and their emotional things about money and finances and stress and worry and trying to fit in and going to church and living up to how this person at church looks at me and how that person church, all of their actions, no matter how great it may seem, when you really get to the bottom of it, unless they were talking, the way I'm talking here, in be just living in truth, fact, and reality, and not putting any effort or anything into any distractions or any, even work, guys. I know a lot of these parents or grandparents, gave kids great work ethics, and but even that is a distract. Even that is taking away from what it means to be human. Just the fact of oh well, I would wake up every morning to the smell of bacon and cooking and eggs and the griddle, the sizzling on the griddle and all of this, and that brings back warm memories because you felt safe. But you don't understand that these things are all programs that ultimately led to your being a part of the hamster wheel in this whole enslavement process. And those are the nitty-gritty things that we need to get down to and recognize and realize, because until we get that honest with ourselves, we're doing is just participating. We're just justifying, excusing, and settling for the fact, right? The fact that we are less than, that we are born, these dumb little kids, retarded kids that need to be taught, that need to be, that know nothing, that, need to be taught everything. And it's just not true. And yes, of course, if you had a grandparent there holding your hand, and your granddad would teach you how to work on the car and teach you how to take care of horses and farm animals and how to take care of the farm. And then your grandma, you go inside, and your grandma would teach you how to, sew and knit and fix things around the house and cook and bake and all of that. But guys, that isn't what it means to be human. That is not what it means to be human. Even living in such a peaceful, safe scenario as that is not. You think we were just born to take care of a farm and raise animals and build a house and know how to fix everything and have to be taught how to do all that, and then have to have the money and the finances to pay the taxes on it? And come on, guys, you got to think deep, man. So I'm going to start doing videos on children and the different aspects, trying to look at these different aspects. I'm hoping more people will allow me to share their these people don't want me to share these experiences with their kids, a lot of them, because it's hard, man. It's hard. It's a very difficult thing to talk about, to come to terms with, to deal with, and then to put it out there, for everybody to see. But, guys, that's how we heal. That's how we start. We've been propagating, perpetuating this whole slavery and enslavement and wallowing in our shit our whole lives. It's time we buck up. It's time we stand up and be courageous and don't be afraid to put the truth out there. You know, no matter how nitty gritty and dirty it may seem to us, you'll be amazed at how your story relates to everybody else, man. I mean, and so what I want to start off this whole children's series with is with my, you know, I'm going to go in right now on this video on, I'm just going to riff. I'm just going to go into like, you know, I have 3 kids, so I'm going to talk about my experience with my kids and how this is affecting me in my journey and how I have had to come to these truths and these, you know, these things. And I'm going to put it out there, and I want you guys to see how relatable these things are. I know to half the population, my story with my kids is going to be fucking, oh my God, what the fuck? What a fucking mismanaged fucking chaotic fucking shithole that life that must have been for them. And then half the people be like, well, you know, that's really not that bad. My shit, I don't even want to talk about my shit. But that's the thing, we all need to talk about our shit with the truth. Guys, the thing that kills us, that buries us, that diseases us, that just makes everything even worse, that makes that baggage that we carry throughout our lives that, you know, get heavier and heavier, is not speaking the truth. As soon as you speak the truth and get it out of you, you unburden that, you take that burden off your fucking back, and you just lay it down. And it's a show of courage, because what this matrix banks on, it's like the perfect predator. It's a perfect mind predator, because it makes us feel so shameful and guilty, and like we're the only ones with this secret, when in reality, if we'd all come out and just lay our shit out on the table, we'd see how much that 90% of our shit is relatable to everybody else. I mean, literally those crazy thoughts that we think nobody knows about, that nobody else has, those crazy emotions, those crazy feelings, those crazy fucking, you know, behaviors, all of it, guys. It's so relatable. Your shit relates to 70% of people out there, at least, with 70% of your shit is completely relatable. The rest, the other little bit, everybody has their own little nuances in this fucked up existence of slavery and in living with the burden and shame and guilt on their back, that it relates. It relates in some way. But when you're honest, see, the thing about honesty and truth is when people can see, when you are honest and true, it is, even through media, through this electronic media, when you speak honesty and truth, it is so relatable as part of the human condition of being relatable, that it even transfers through this electronic media, and people can feel and empathize through that middleman of electronics between you guys, because it resonates so deeply. When the truth is spoken, people shut off their judgment. People immediately, as long as you're not speaking half truths or speaking only the truths that make you look good, when you lay your truth out there, you just got to lay it out there. Lay it out there with no fear of judgment, no fear of anything. Because see, guys, this is getting to your rock bottom. This is realizing, shit, it is what it is, and I can't keep running. This baggage on my back has gotten, this burden I've been carrying has gotten so fucking heavy, and I've become so goddamn weak. I'm not going to keep going. I might have another 2 days left in me, but what am I going to do on Friday when I can't run from it anymore? It's eventually going to catch up to me. And so we have to, that's why I started this channel 2 years ago, because I realized, I was like, man, I got to get all this out, because I had such an immense amount of shit, secrets and lies, and it was catching up to me, because I was looking around, I was realizing that nobody cared if I died, other than my kids, but everybody else, I had propagated and perpetuated so much abuse and trauma and chaos around me my whole life, I was a great friend. I was awesome. I was someone you wanted to have as a friend. But a lot of people couldn't deal with me all the time because I was so energetic and I was so. You see how I come across now. I mean, and I don't even come across now like I used to. Go back and watch my videos from a year and a half ago, a year ago. I mean, you'll see how. I mean, I'm very. They call it passionate, right? Passionate about fucking everything, and so I was, because of my trauma and abuse and not facing it. I was very in survival mode all the fucking time. So people couldn't deal with me all the time, but they knew I was a good person to have as a friend because I died for my motherfucking friends. I'd take a goddamn bullet for people. And I had no problem defending or helping or anything. I was there for people. I was a fucking friend till the end. And so, when I realized that I had all of these, like with each different friend group and family group and all spread out all over the place. I had lies, I had manipulations, I had things, okay, I can talk to them about, but you can't have this conversation with these people, you can't talk like this over there, and when I had that last brain injury, it was like, oh, I couldn't deal with it. I had to start getting the truth out. I had to start laying this foundation out. Because there were too many truths. There were too many opinions. There were too many fucking, thoughts, too many goddamn acceptable behaviors in one area and then not in the other, and having to remember everything. And it was fucking nuts. That's chaos. That's the matrix. That's why we're all so fucked. That's why we're all so goddamn stressed, is because it's so unnatural, guys, the way we live. The way this matrix has us living in lies and deceit and going along to get along, and you have your opinion, I have mine, and then you get 50 friends together at church or at this group, whatever group that you're in, and you got to remember, okay, I can't talk about this, and then just so you have this group of 5 people talking about this, and then all of a sudden that one friend that doesn't like talking about that comes over and because shh. It's unnatural, guys. This is not humanity. This is not how humans. This is egos. This is all egos. It's all billions of different egos with their own little sim character that's been built, been accessorized with all the little characteristics that make up each one of us that we're supposed to accept. It's all a lie, guys. It's all ego based. It's all part. That whole ego is that thing that keeps us all shutting our mouths and not speaking our truths. It's got us so fucking far away from our authentic self and essence. Your authentic self is not, well, my name's Richard, I like chocolate ice cream, I like girls with long blonde hair and pretty eyes, and I like football, and my favorite team is the Redskins, and I like fall time's my favorite season, and I'm a roofer. And no, that is the ego. That all of that horse shit is ego based character. It's all a front man. It's a straw man. It's our character. It's our shadow. It's our proxy. It's who we use to represent ourselves to the world. And then when we get home, we go, because we're exhausted from playing that character, not being our true authentic self. Our authentic self is being a human. Again, guys, we are an eternal, all-knowing, all-powerful, empathic soul, connected to everything on that level of existence, on that energy level of existence. And we occupy the most advanced biological thing on this earth. The human body is the most, guys, from the way our ears work to our eyes are the most advanced camera system in the world. Our minds are the most advanced processing unit in the world. And it's not just our brains. It's the neurons that we have more neurons in our belly than we do in our brain. And it's that whole interconnectedness. We have a lymph system, a lymphatic system with trillions of little fucking things that clean us out. That clean all the bad stuff, toxins out of we are so unbelievably This biological thing we inhabit is so far advanced. It's beyond the limits of our imaginations. In the capabilities with which we are innately born with, and then to be programmed and told our whole lives that no, you were born to work for money, and you were born, and your ancestors were apes, and either you came from, the Indian cowboys or Indians. Choose who you want to be, which side you want to be on. The Americans or the British, whose side do you want to be on? And they just got us in this fucking this thin, narrow little option box of choosing, our character and how we're going to make ourselves and our personalities and who we are and who we think we are. And no, guys, we are so beyond what we've been sold, this lie of, God damn, of inadequacy, of not enough, of not, it's so disgusting how we've been programmed to relegate ourselves to fucking nothing. I mean, people literally hold everything above them. People hold fucking entertainment and celebrity and politics and education and knowledge seeking and all of this shit above them when they're the most special, important, powerful, unbelievable thing on this earth. Guys, we have literally been stolen. We have been taken over. We've been hijacked. And you don't understand is that the programming and the indoctrination through abusive and traumatic means that this stuff's been placed on us is so effective on the human brain and the way the brain works and gets put into survival. By the time we're 16, 17, 18 years old and we're out in the world and we can make our own choices, none of us know what it even means to be free or that that's even an option. We are stuck. And then we have children, and then we're so lonely. And then 95% of us have children, regardless of why we say we had children. 95% of us have children because we want something that hopefully we're hoping that just because it came from our loins and it came from a part of our being, that maybe this will be the thing that will love me, that I can love. And the whole thing wrong with that is we've been living our whole lives and we've never even known what love is. We have associated that comfort from that one loving parent or grandparent or kindred spirit or whatever. We associate that comfort we had with them with love, and that's so far off base, guys. It's not love. Being comfortable is not love. That's when I speak truth. The only love is through truth. And that's why when I speak truth, people get butt hurt and people get their fucking feelings and emotions hurt. And then they're like, I'm not talking to him. You shouldn't listen to him. He's so mean. He judges. He's such an asshole. And it's not like that. That's the most loving thing anybody can do for you, is tell you the goddamn truth. And it's that simple. You've been lied to. You've been living in lies your whole life. You're so used to lies, illusions, and fucking paradoxes and all this bullshit that you have no clue what love is. So we give birth to these children hoping in our deepest essence, just deepest subconsciousness, just hoping, please, let this be the thing that loves me. Let this be the thing that rescues me from this fucking enslavement. Please let this be the thing. I'm going to do this right. My parents fucked up. I'm going to show them. I'll show my parents how to raise kids. I'll show my parents how they should have loved me. I'll show my parents. And then guess what you do? What do you do as soon as they're born? You name, number, and catalog them just like your parents did in the slavery systems, guys. You allow the state to inject heavy metals right into their fucking bodies. What do those heavy metals do? They affect the brain. They start turning the brain off. They start liquefying everything and fucking going, Why do you think we got all this Down syndrome, all these medical interventions make your brain go, all All of these are conditions are a result of not living correctly, guys. Every single condition is in disease and everything else we have that is in existence on this earth is a complete planned obsolescence of the natural abilities of the human body. It's planned. It's all orchestrated. It's all being controlled. It's all on purpose. Why do you think the medical interventions are fucking mandatory? Why do you think they're mandatory? Why do you think this country has gone into every other country in the world and forced these countries to have this? Especially like you take third world countries like Africa. Look what they did to Africa back in the 80s, 90s, and even all the way up through to today, taking advantage of those poor people. Corrupt government officials working hand in hand with pharmaceutical companies. And yeah, these guys are all doing it for money and power and everything, but it's all within the matrix system, and we feed into it. See, we're part of the matrix system too as parents because we feed into it because we allow these things. Well, I had to let my kids get it, or otherwise the state would have taken them away. Well, you shouldn't have had kids. Why would you breed kids into a slavery system if you know that? If you knew that you had to name, number, and catalog your child into a slavery system, why would you have a kid? Because I'm not talking to you. Exactly. And if you were, I'm not even going to go in. If you, there's of course there's rape and a child of rape, but it was your choice to not have an abortion. Period. And it's as simple as that. That we don't. There are millions of different little scenarios, and everybody's got their own little situation and excuses and justifications for why they did what they did, bringing kids into this world. It doesn't matter. Either way, you name, number, catalog. You allowed the state to put toxic metals into their bodies. Okay, let's say that's fine. That's fine. You're a good human for naming, numbering, and cataloging your child into slavery, so that's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's fine you allowed the state to inject heavy toxics into your child at birth. That's okay. Don't worry about it. But then what did you do when you got the kid home? What kind of emotions did you have? How much financial stress were you under? How much relationship stress were you under? How much job prioritization stress were you under? How much family time and this time and these obligations and these responsibilities and having to live up to this, and then having to show that you're a good parent to your parents and to your church and to your family and friends and all this. How much of that stress were you feeling? Your child felt all of that. Your child is so connected. Your baby, when it is born, is so fucking connected. Speech is unnatural. It was never supposed to be. Speech is a program that was programmed into us to keep us from being able to communicate telepathically. Because children are able to do that. They're naturally, innately born to do that. We all are born to do that. It's taken away from us through speech. Period. It's that simple. Why do you think a kid at 8 months old can run around, he can swim underwater, he can do anything? An 8-month-old can hang, he can swing from things, he can balance, it's unbelievable what an 8-month-old kid can do. But why do they have such a problem talking? Because it is unnatural. It is completely unnatural. So you taught your kid how to speak. You taught your kid how to sleep in a crib all by itself, right? Let it cry. Oh, it's got to cry. It's got to learn a sleep schedule. You taught it separation from human contact. All of these are non-human. All of these are completely against the parental creed of providing a safe space and nurturing and comfort for your child. All of them that I'm mentioning. Every single one of them. You force-fed it toxic, poisonous table food, cooked food, processed food, sugars, artificial flavors, ingredients, chemicals. You did that. Nobody else. You did that. But I didn't think, I just thought everybody else did it. That's what I was taught. Yeah, exactly. But does it make it right? If everybody else thought it was okay to rape their kids, would you rape your kid? If everybody else said, if society was just like, well, it's just, that's, you have a kid, it's a hard thing having a kid. You got to be able to pleasure yourself and fuck your own kid. Would you fuck your own kid? Do you see what I'm saying? Just because everybody else did it, just because everybody else fed their kid poisonous foods, does that make it right for you? Just because you were ignorant of it, does it still make it right? Just because you were ignorant of the fact that it was poisonous, does it still make it right? Well, I did the best thing I could. You're justifying. You're excusing. If you want to heal, these are the things that you need to come to terms with. These are the things you need to talk about. These are the things you need to think about. These are the things that need to be laid out on the table. These are the things that need to be completely processed. Because anytime you try to excuse or justify any one of these things, that means you are unhealed. That means that as soon as that justification and excuse comes up, you need to sit with that justification and excuse. Well, everybody else was doing. Oh, fuck. Well, everybody else is doing it, huh? Well, there's some societies that allow this, and I don't think that's right. There's some society. So you got to sit with these things. You have to process them. You have to think so critically, guys. You have to be your own forensic psychologist. You have to be your own private investigator. You have to be your own expert. You have to be your own judge and jury. You have to be your own teacher, your own everything. You are it, guys. You are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. You have it. You are completely capable and able to do these things, to heal yourself, to right your wrongs, to get rid of your shame and guilt, and change and become heal and become what a human is supposed to be. But we have to do it, and we can't do it by constantly thinking that we're just going to justify and excuse everything in our past, and just the past is the past, and just forget about the past. I'm just going to concentrate on my healing. How are you going to heal if you don't how's the broken leg going to heal if you don't take care of it? By having that kid, that's the break in your leg. That's part of the break in your leg. You have to heal that part of that leg. You have to give it love, care, attention, focus, energy. You have to thoroughly examine it, see why. Oh, okay, so that tendon was attached there, and that goes back like that. Oh, now it's whole again. Okay, and then this one came across, and this one wrapped around like that, and then this one came. Okay, and then I got to deal with this. Okay, and you got to take one thing at a time. You can't overwhelm yourself. But it all has to be examined. It all has to be thoroughly processed. And how do you know when I would say a good way to know that it's been thoroughly processed? You don't have to look at, like, let's say you go back, like with my life, for example. A year ago, I went through my childhood and went through everything by the years. I have all those videos documented. Since then, I haven't been reliving that. There are things I go back to. There are things that become clear. There are things I have remembered. For instance, when Brandon made his video a month ago on his childhood, he did like an hour-long video talking about his childhood and how he was abandoned and constantly around sex and sexual things and all this stuff. And the part that I had to play in that, it brought up things that made me remember. Through his healing, we're bouncing off each other because of all the healing going on, and memories are coming back. Doors are getting opened. Old emotions and feelings and shame and guilt is being released. These past traumas and experiences and abuses are being healed and taken care of and faced and acknowledged. And this is the only way to do it. And guys, your abuse and trauma that you propagated onto your child doesn't end there. What if you drop them off at a daycare? And the daycare just popped him in front of a fucking TV, and he was getting beat up by another little kid, and the daycare worker would scream and yell at him and fucking shove poisonous food in front of their face. So all so that way you could go to work. To what? To provide a house over the head? And then what is the kid? The kid's like, Mommy, I wish I didn't have to go to daycare. I wish you would be home with me. And you're like, God damn it, I gotta, how do you think I'm gonna feed you and keep a house over your head? And then so you're teaching your kid all of these abusive means of how to live in a social strata. It's okay to treat a child like that because, you know, that's what it takes to raise a child in these constructs, in the slavery. This is how you do it, son. Pay attention, Johnny. This is how you stress out over everything. This is how you behave. This is how you fucking put on your chameleon mask when you go out in front of people. This is how you survive. This is how you play the game. This is how you work for a paper fake ass currency, a digital currency. This is how you dopamine hit to take your mind off how fucking bad work sucks, how much you hate your fucking life and your existence. Well, then, Mommy, why did you even have me? Because I fucking love you! And then we wonder why our minds are so fucked. Because then little Johnny grows up and he's bamboozled himself and been gaslit his whole life, and then he goes, yeah, my mommy loved me. Guys, we got to break free, and the only way to do this is by being honest and putting our shit out there. And so this, man, I'm glad I'm getting this out. I just feel like this is so necessary, man, to talk about these things. And please leave your comments. This is going to be the introduction to the child series, I guess. I was going to just jump right into and start talking about my kids and my relationship and how that goes and all of that. But yeah, I guess I'll just I'll make a playlist and call it the something to do with children, but you guys will see in the playlist. I haven't thought about it yet, but yeah, I'll start doing a video series on children's. That way, you know, this is necessary, man, because, you know, it's this hard. If you're a single person, if you're single, you don't have kids, you're not in a relationship, man, you are a lucky motherfucker. I'll tell you what, if you don't have kids, you aren't married, you don't have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, fucking consider yourself the luckiest motherfucker on earth. And dude, you fucking need, I'm going to be doing a video here soon on creating your environment properly for your, that's conducive for your healing. So that'll be for everybody. But man, you have it, guys. Those single people out there, you got it so easy compared to those of us who burdened ourselves with children and relationships and marriages and all of that horse shit, because that is that is a whole nother level of propagating and perpetuating the abuse onto others, and how we ingrained we are into these slavery systems by having these children and these relationships and these other halves, and oh God, these marriages and commitments to another person, and when we can't even commit to ourselves and supposed to love them, and we have no clue what love, neither person has any clue what love is, and what a fucking mess, man. So it's all trauma bonding. All our relationships, if you haven't healed, it's all trauma bonding. That's why you get with people. You trauma bond. You find likenesses in your sim character, and then you get together, and then, you know, the first months are good, and then all of a sudden you guys start farting in front of each other, pissing and shitting in front of each other, burping and fucking belching and shoving food in your face, and fucking you letting your emotions go crazy and showing your true self, and the mask starts coming off. And you know, and then people stick out in those abusive, terrible relationships for the rest of their lives, because that, you know, either because of their religion or the way they were brought up through family and whatever their social structure is that says, ooh, you can't divorce your abusive husband or wife. You got to stay with that motherfucker and make it work. And yeah, man, when, you know, really the work needs to be done individually with ourselves. So what a mess. I'm glad, man, this really need to start being untangled. I can feel myself healing just talking about this stuff and getting this stuff out. And yeah, so please leave your comments if you know, if there's so I'm gonna, this is the introduction to the children's series, and And guys, please feel free to leave whatever comments you want. Like I said, I have people right now that have been contacting me, but none of them want to be known. Hopefully some of them let me start sharing their stories, because it's going to open up a whole new level of sharing experiences that are so relatable. We are just so ashamed and feel so guilty about, like, even those of us who were abused feel shameful and guilty of talking out about their abuser. We're so afraid. Like, that's the control, that's the whole I started off at the beginning talking about how the Matrix uses that as their main system of control to get us to shut up through shame and guilt. And that's a predator. The Matrix is a predatory system, right? Just like an abusive spouse is a predator, and it makes us feel so bad that we can't, in shame and guilty, that we can't talk bad about them. Even once we break away or get away from them, we're still afraid. I can't talk bad about my mommy and daddy. I can't talk bad about my grandparents. I can't talk bad about my preacher. I can't talk bad about my teacher. I can't talk bad about my fucking Sunday school teacher. I can't talk bad about my Boy Scout leader. I can't talk bad about you know what I mean? Because we just feel so, because the predator puts us under their control, and that is the control mechanism by which the whole Matrix operates. That's why we all live in lies, and everybody's so afraid to speak truth. Why is it so easy for us to sit there and talk about a celebrity or a sports team or the weather or this or that stupid shit or that stupid shit or that stupid shit, but none of us can talk to our truth, our experiences, our observances, our thoughts, our own, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important, because the only way to break away completely from those predators is to be courageous and speak that truth. That truth has to be spoken, because that truth is a fucking fiery sword that just slashes through everything, slashes through all the manipulation, the lies, the deceit, the illusions, the bullshit, the bamboozlement, obfuscation, the everything, the slander, the truth, just because it resonates, man. The Matrix and every other predator in this system, every narcissist, every fucking psychopath, sociopath, all of that, they all hate the fucking truth. They hate it. They run from it. They hear the truth. They're like, they're scared of it. It's the one thing they're fucking scared to death of, is the truth. They run and hide. They're like cockroaches. They run as fast as they can. As soon as the truth, like a light comes and shines on them, they into the darkest corner they can find, and they hide out there until the truth goes away, and then they come back out and they're like, let me feed again. But man, that's the one that, guys, we have to be courageous. You have to be courageous. If you have gone through a bad relationship with an ex, that is still holding power over you, through that narcissistic hold, that psychological and mental hold on you, you have to break free from it. If your boss, if your anybody, I'm saying anybody, it doesn't matter if it was a spouse, if it was a boss, if it was a parent, if it was a grandparent, if it was an elder in the church, if it was whatever, a teacher, educator at a college, or whatever, that this higher position that this person had in the social hierarchy from you, that makes you feel like you can't speak, you will be amazed that once you get your story out there and share your story and allow your story to get out, how that validation of your truth will break that bond and that hold that person or that entity or that institution or that industry has over you. By speaking out, you will be amazed, because we're so afraid to speak. As long as I don't talk about it too loud, then they won't know, and they can't hurt me. They can't hurt you anyways. Their hurt's already been done. Look how damaged you are by not even by being afraid of an invisible entity that's not even there to fucking beat you with a bat. I mean, you know, they've enslaved you mentally and emotionally and psychologically and spiritually, and you have to break free from that. You have to rip it off. And that's why sharing, guys, you can go back at the other people who have been courageous enough to share their stories, and you can see and read afterwards their comments of saying, oh my God, this helped me so much. Guys, you know, you don't have to, but you can email me, richardswink@icloud.com. I can share, I can do a dedicated video just to you and your story that will validate you and bring you, that will leapfrog your healing and get it going at lightning speed. It'll blow your fucking mind. And I do that for you because we're human. That is if there's anything else I can do besides making these videos for my kids and then for me and for everybody else, the biggest thing I can do is making an individual tailored video to each individual on their story, because you are the most important thing in your life. And you have to recognize that. And you know, it's when you share your story, it's not about going, oh, and throwing a pity party and everybody goes, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, I'm praying for you, oh, good, sending good energy your way. No, it's people relating and saying, don't worry, we're here. I relate. I can understand. And man, when you see that you're not the only one and that you've been hiding in a closet over here while this person's hiding on their closet over there, and that person's hiding over there, and that person's over there, and that person's over there, and everybody's hiding, if we just come out of hiding and just start speaking, we can start healing. It's not wallowing. Wallowing is when you don't change anything. Wallowing is when you tell your story 5,000 different times to 5,000 different people over 5 years, and you just are living in it and stewing it and then enjoying the attention you're getting. That's wallowing. Sharing your story is part of your healing. Sharing your story is getting that shit out and fucking allowing the truth to come out, and then what naturally comes with that truth, the peace that passes all understanding, the breaking of the chains, the freedom it allows. So anyways, I won't go any further into that, but yeah, so I'll start the child series, and guys, please share your thoughts, share your questions, something you think I should cover in the child series. After this video, I'm going to probably dedicate a video to Brandon and then Sammy and then Aiden's. That way you guys can see how I'm taking my shame and guilt and dealing with it with each one of those children, and how I'm, you know, how I've processed and how I've gotten this far, and how I'm dealing with them now that, you know, Brandon and Sammy are adults, and then you know, Aiden's still a teenager living with, you know, his grandfather. So, you know, how I deal with that and custody issues and all of that stuff. Just that way you guys with kids can start seeing how these different things, these nuances all relate, and how it all relates, and how it all basically comes back to just pure 100% being honest, courageous, taking personal responsibility, and being disciplined. And that's the other thing. I haven't finished up the series on the fundamental foundations for freedom yet. I still got to do personal responsibility, discipline, courage, and honesty. And I've actually started working on the personal responsibility video today, just getting my ideas out on paper to start structuring that video. So yeah, lots of things, man. I'm glad, you know, I got to do another update on my I got to do a lot of different things with these videos just to get them out of me. And I got work all this week probably. Unless it rains. So hopefully I'll get a day or two of rain so I can take off and do some more videos. But we'll see how everything goes. I'm going to stop this video now, and then I'll probably jump into my video about Brandon and go from there. So take care of yourselves, guys. Nobody else will.